Hoopla World TV, in collaboration with the Center for Research in Igbo History and Culture, invites you to join us as we celebrate a very special person, a father figure, a mentor, and a constant source of inspiration in our drive to build a modern research and broadcast media organization from scratch. ICHIE Barrister S.A.G was one of the founding members of the Center for Research in Igbo History and Culture right from the formal inauguration of the center in September 2020, and has remained an active force for good here at the center. In this first of a four-part series, we are joining the family, friends and associates of ICHIE Barrister Sam UMEADI as he is elevated to the exalted ranks of ICHIE UMUERI.Otuocha, Anambra East Local Government Area, Anambra State, Nigeria. Today, Saturday, the 17th of September 2022, by His Royal Majesty Igwe Sir Benneth Emeka Okebo II of UMUERI. The boy who became ICHIE Barrister Sam UMEADI was born some 8 decades ago to the family of Otagbu Anya UMEADI Unwankwo, a great-grandson of Ngujiana of UMUERI, family of Irubi Umwatolo UMUERI, and Iyom Charity Avoekwe UMEADI, in what is today Anambra East Local Government Area, Anambra State of Nigeria.
I was born into the family of Chief UMEADI Unwankwo and Iyom Avoekwe Charity UMEADI immediately after the Second World War.
He speaks with joy of his origins.
A great-grandson of late Ngujiana of Irubi, UMUERI. The only man in UMUERI who was not buried on his joining his ancestors, but decided to join Enoch, Elijah, and the host of patriarchs, other men of the Bible. When it was time for him to leave, he summoned members of the family and told them not to bother about the dead if anytime he leaves, that they should take care of the living. Even the grave they should not dig, because it will be unnecessary. A few days after, the man left. And members of the family decided to dig grave and prepare for normal burial. But then, at the end of all their preparations and after the burial, then there were no coffins for burial. It is what our people call Ibudu, made of raffia pan, that people are buried then. On this fateful day, after all the burial rites had been performed, right at the center of the village square, Amairubi, when they were about to lift the man, the corpse to the grave, anticyclone wind came and took the man into the thin air. People were running helter-skelter. And the elderly ones decided to go to make inquiries what was happening. The soothsayer told them not to bother, that they should go back to the village square, that on getting there, they will see Oji Ngwaglega, and they should dress that Ngwaglega before coming back. And when they got back to the village square, they saw the Ngwaglega He tied a white cloth around it and went back to the soothsayer, who told them what to do to appease the gods. And up to today, at the center of UMUERI, the village square, the Ngujian shrine is still there. They're called Nancy Nagu.
High Chief Barrister Sam UMEADI has shared fond memories of his early life and education.
I remember starting my early life at Emmanuel Siemens School in UMUERI. Because then, I was one of those who was skeptical playing with my mates. I always associate myself with my seniors. And because of it, I had to start schooling earlier than my age mates by following seniors. Now, in those days, before the Otuocha road was tarred, the road had a long line of mango trees that produced fantastic shade along the road as you go. The result that you can trek them from UMUERI to Otuocha without feeling the heat of the sun because of the shelter provided by the mango leaves. There was one big culvert in front of Emmanuel Central School. I remember each time, especially when we are on recess, I would go down into that gutter and my colleagues will cover me with dry mango leaves. What do I do when I go in there? As I go in there, I became the gramophone. I sing. Olo piti lo, they will respond from outside. Ubologi melanga, aye. Olo piti lo, ubologi. We will stay there singing and singing and singing and singing until our recess time was over. And that made me one of the littlest boys in the school. Because by the time I come out of that mango leaves, the dust will report on my
Like most young children of his generation living in the eastern Nigeria at the time, young Sam UMEADI had his education interrupted by the Civil War.
After the secondary school experience, in fact, before the secondary school experience came to an end, the Civil War intervened. And we had to go into the Biafra experience.
As you may have come to expect, the young Sam UMEADI was part of the action.
On that fateful evening, I was in Enugu for my railway refugee salary for those who came back from the north. When I had a wind, there was to be an army selection the next Monday morning. And that was in February 1967. So the next morning, instead of going to the railway station for my refugee salary, I decided to go to Army Barracks, F Company, Nigerian Army in Enugu. And from there, joined the army under the Eastern Command of Nigerian Army. We formed joined the F Company in Enugu to form the then 7th Battalion of Biafran Army.
You said Eastern Command of the Nigerian Army?
Yes.
It was Nigerian Army then?
Yes, my number is EC 1079/NA.
The war had not started then?
The war hadn't started. That was about February 1967.
Finally, those who were found worthy and successful, they were given numbers. Place your number on your chest, and the photograph of you is taken. before you are allowed to put. You are told the day you will report back. When we reported back, we formed what was the F company of one battalion. It is this F company, 1 battalion, that later left from Soka and formed what was known as 7 Battalion Biafra. So the war, we were there until April. No. Yes, until April 1967, when we had the first encounter with Nigerian army boys who came with police. They came on patrol and fell into our ambush at Amala, Golaf. By the time they came, we were praying. 7 Battalion was the only battalion that had Matson. We were told that, oh, if we push it forward, the bullet will rain like water. If we push it back, we fire one. We were praying, God, give us opportunity to fire this thing. So that day, immediately this vehicle drove in, after the health center, Amala Health Center. They abandoned their vehicle. In fact, we started marching that day, saying that we are not coming back until we get to Benue. That is, when we get to Benue, we now dig our trench there. That will be the boundary between east and north. We continued until we were ordered to come back. That should be what they call. That was the day we had the language of practical withdrawal. We came back to Amalabo. The war continued until before then. There was this encounter at Ihalmuna. That was where Meganzol picked me as his order. While that operation was going on, there was very heavy fire from the Nigerian side. So our boys were clean up. He looked by his side and said, why do I allow those people to be doing? A junior person like me, can I talk to senior officers who are having me? He took his gun, cocked his gun. But before then, he taught us at Zig's flat that if a soldier cocks his rifle, if you don't kill that person, you kill yourself. So he cocked his rifle, I dashed down, spread my legs, released my own. Because he came then I paused all the time. Although Gianni could see. Potasia, Nene. He came out, asked me to come. I said, not possible. He pulled the magazine in the Shiberata he was handling. Before he threw it, he fired the one in the barrel. He followed him. That's how I became his soldier. From that time on, anywhere he went, I went with him. Until the day he died. That day he died was the first time he asked me to go back. I was in a vehicle, BA321. Vehicle number 321. He was with some officers in front and with the driver. You see this thing now, they use sellotape to tie mats together. This is the person who started it. I'll take one magazine here, take one here, 3 of them, 60 rounds. I'll sellotape them. Carry them. That's how I. So that if anything happens before I run out of bullet, I have released 60 rounds. To the extent that when I had the first bullet wound, while going on admission in the hospital, I folded my iron butt magazine, put it inside my bag. The day that gun could have done some work in the hospital was the day the doctor said, he wrote on my folder, amputate. And this is where it is. So they could have. How did I know what happened? Then I was young and fresh. I was a toast of every girl. While I was in the hospital treating this hand, nurses who didn't know me from Adam would cook, would bring. You come to my corner, onye liri nke ya ọkụ na-apụ na-agba egwu a na-ata ịwọ dịka akụkọ iro, but it happened. Onye mmeli nke ya agba egwu. So that fateful morning, Fabian and all ndị anyasị na-ana they must pass through my bed. Ndị bịara abịa, they must pass through my bed. So I notice here now, I may fold them. Hey, you will change it. I may fold them, you will change it. All my chief orderly got it. Over mother. One day former speaker, Anambra State. Said, bring that folder. Something is wrong. Because I can't carry the speak with you. They the folder. Amputate 10 a.m. the next day. Lieutenant Ebon will happen. Na kama I get sleep with the marker. I won't know what you know. Near food of the world, we don't know food and where say. Go and tell other boys. Then I had 4 days. Can't tell everybody should get ready to move without notice. So immediately it was 2 a.m. Everybody in the hospital was asleep. My security, my doctor, my nurse, threat from Mbano Joint Hospital, Ebenyama admission, to Amiibu Joint Hospital. Luckily for me, on getting to Amiibu, Dr. Phil Ebosi Onyeonicha was our 7th Battalion MRS doctor and Soka. Immediately he saw me, said, UMEADI, what is wrong? I can see a doctor see my hand. Okay, pyjamas, so you roll out. And then, about because you were so long, I go to the hospital. When you go to my bed, Brazil goes. Now next day, you see, mouse, symbols. I have to do my best. Even I consider because now that out of those 3 bullets, no food, you need pull a biscuit bone, but I can't know and I bang straight to her. And no one can get me operation go to that bullet without touching that biscuit bone. And then a merry operation, because you put on the parts of the body. Now, any operation. This is one of the factors that drove me into going to work at the teaching hospital. Because at the time, according to them, I have no money to handle that.
Why did you enter the war with such zeal? What made you?
Okay. Now, what made me enter the war?
Was it the glamour or the sense of suffering, or was it a need to deliver your people, to protect your family?
Entered the joined Biafran army with such a zeal happened primarily on October 3, 1966, when the last plane leaving northern Nigeria left Jos. Being a staff of railways, I made no preparations. All I did was to, as the train was, because before that time, I had packed my things, railed them, and they were dropped at the railway station anyway. So on that fateful 10 October, I simply entered the train and came back home. That train was stopped not at Makodi, not at the railway station, but on top of Makodi Bridge at midnight. Inanyanaka live, Nachasu train on Menu Bridge. Nigerian soldiers asked all of us to come down, everybody. because the train was loaded with many Igbos. Asking for work. Those of us who had good stature, they said we were soldiers. They were pointing torch on your neck, your legs. They asked me what I was doing. I didn't even accept that I was doing any Oloibo. I told them I was a trader. Asked me, what do you sell? I sell Gonjo, because there's a friend of mine from Agulezi who sells Gonjo in the market. So they continued searching. There were some people they held. Luckily for me, as the train was leaving, one of them came with torchlight on my neck. As if he wasn't satisfied, he used the butt of the gun on my neck. Bam! As I was falling, I fell on the step of the train. And the thing continued to take. As the train was driving, breeze was coming. I was gaining consciousness. Until I fully regained consciousness and climbed into the train. Otherwise, I would have died there. One of the prayers I offered then, while standing on that bridge, I asked God not to allow death to kill me until I put on khaki as a soldier.
This person had very close relationship with Major Zogo.
And you are his Batman.
Yes.
You are his Batman, as you said.
Yes.
And last time we were discussing, you were talking about how you came to be his Batman, the encounter.
Yes.
And it also
in the battlefield.
In the battlefield.
Yes.
And you also had a close encounter with him before his death.
Yes.
What's your assessment? Do you think that he had a premonition of his death, as someone that was so close to him?
I don't think he did. Because he was with his co-officer. Then I wasn't an officer. He was...
You were his Batman?
Yes. He was staying with some officers in front of the Land Rover, while I stay behind.
You as the Batman, you were,
stay behind. I usually stand.
Do you have any recollection of the officers he was with, and that final time you were with him before he died?
Yes, but I reserve comments in that area.
About that. Yeah, well, I can see the implications, because the circumstances of his death are still.
Fortunately, nothing lasts forever. Even the Civil War came to an end eventually, and young Sam, just over 20, returned to work and predictably to school, eventually opting for a career in life.
Now, after the Biafra experience, I went back to not just to work, but to school. And I felt the best option was the teaching hospital, because of my health challenges then. So I started working, treating myself, and started reading.
So now, while at the teaching hospital, I started thinking of academics. It was actually medicine that I had at the back of my mind, because I am propelled by where I will go and save lives. But when I started working at the teaching hospital, number one, my life was saved, because they helped to give me adequate treatment for the bullet wound. With the result that after about 9 months daily injection, I went on X-ray, the bullet was no longer there. So that gave me joy. And I quickly resumed with my education. I started with private studies, going to receive private lessons, preparing for GCE. That was where I came in contact with one Mr. G.O.Uche from NO, a teacher at CIC Enugu. One day I was reading, he came along, looking at me, said, Mr. Madi, because only go walk. how many subjects are you entering? Make sure it's up to 5. He said, I want to see if I can enter for 4. Say, where are those 4? I looked at them. Look, I must tell you, you are not an O-level material. Enter for A-level. Don't worry, enter for A-level. If you have any difficulty, come. I'll help you. I have the syllabus. So I entered for 2 O-level papers and 2 A's. Entered them, and I'm lucky to have it. I passed them. Like that. With those papers now, I now secured admission into then College of Technology.
Why, Lord sir, why was it not medicine or engineering or the military for which you had already demonstrated a great aptitude?
On finishing at IMT, there was an advertisement for people to do part-time work at the University of Nigeria on campus. I looked at the requirements. I said, I have the O-level, the A-level, the national diploma at IMT. I just applied, forgot it, and continued working. One day I received a letter for admission. This was what aborted my ambition for medicine. I didn't know what I never knew that I was aborting that ambition. I said, let me be doing it while the opportunity for medicine comes. So I went and enrolled.
What were your strongest memories from this time, ICHIE?
I was very lucky. The day I was to have been drowned in court, my senior, A.N. Anyamene of blessed memory, S.A.N., before he became a senior advocate, walked in. He gave me that file in Enugu. And I was, in fact, when the magistrate came out, I was still looking behind for people, seniors, because we mentioned cases in court in order of seniority. I was looking for seniors. They said, mention it's your case. So I stood up, conducted this case. It came to a point on the issue of admissibility of a piece of document.
Evidence.
Luckily for me, I stumbled into an answer. I said, this document is not relevant and it is not pleaded. These are the 2 core principles of evidence. Relevance and admissibility. For it to be admissible, it must be relevant and it must be pleaded. As they were to shout on me that this was a magistrate court, that the pleadings, law of pleadings does not apply, blah, 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 my senior walked in and rescued me. We later won the case.
So who are the lawyers that influenced you, that inspired you in those early days? Or have inspired you since?
Number 1 amongst them is A.N. Anyamene Esquire, S.A.N. Mr. Anyamene was the legal advisor to the teaching hospital by the time I graduated. In fact, I am earning pensions today because of his guidance and direction. Because I had wanted to jump out of service immediately on graduation. He said, Sam, don't go. Wait. You still have 2 years to qualify for voluntary retirement. Yes. Don't go. And I could have regretted if I had left. The peanuts I'm earning today as pension, crying that it is not enough, I couldn't have been having it. But for intervention of Mr.
He went on to enjoy a career as a lawyer, a civil servant, and an administrator, experience that was coming so handy when the UMUERI community needed President General in the difficult years around the Aguleri, UMUERI, Anam communal conflicts of 1995.
Before being the President General, I was first of all the legal advisor to UGA from 1989 to 1999. And then in 1999, I happened to be the only President General in UMUERI who did not campaign before he was voted in. I never asked anybody to vote for me because I was not even at the venue of the election. I was busy on that fateful Saturday with my election petition for Senator Anosike to House of Reps in Abuja. UMUERI conducted their election on Saturday. By then, the communal war between UMUERI, Aguleri, and Umuobanam was 2 weeks old. I was told that at the election venue, 6 persons were nominated. First one, second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, the sixth one is me. And immediately my name was mentioned, people in the hall shouted unopposed, 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 and that was how the election was done.
The then Barrister Sam UMEADI stepped into the gap and became an instrument of bold restraint, creative intervention and stability in a time of great uncertainty.
So you became PG.
Yes.
What were your experiences?
And because it was not my intention for that leadership role, it wasn't my intention to get into politics at whatever level. So what I did was that after the experiences of the war, immediately the 3 communities came together, talks peace, Bando, Komme. That same week, I resigned as PG.
Okay, but that was done under your administration, in your regime.
Yes, I did it. I conducted it. And advised the community to now conduct fresh election for people who will come and rebuild the ruins of the war.
So we've been talking about your experiences as a lawyer and things, but I'm sure in the midst of law and soldiering and the rest of it, did you find time for love and for marriage?
As a matter of fact, I had very little or no time to talk love in my early days.
Are you saying you didn't write any of those lengthy love letters with big grammar?
I hadn't even time to read novels, not to talk of writing love letters. Every subject I am reading with the course outline for exam. Because I have not read randomly. I had no time. Each reading was for exam.
Along the line, then Barrister Sam UMEADI found time to fall in love and marry his heartthrob.
You know, High Chief, yes. This your story for the Marines about not writing love letters and not having time for romance. Maybe it was good enough for catching mommy in those days.
Doesn't mean that
maybe she bought that. I don't know how much I would buy that your.
No, you see, what happened was
Tales by Moonlight. But obviously, Madam bought it.
My qualification as a lawyer, I came back to the teaching hospital and changed car in preparation for jumping into private practice. I changed from 404 to 505. Now, one day I was coming to court at Otuocha. But before then, I had been praying, God, I now want a partner, somebody to live with, give me my own wife.
Okay, so the workaholic was now thinking of romance.
Yeah, exactly. On that fateful day, at Relief Market Junction in Enugu, as I was approaching the roundabout, I saw the figure that was shown to me in my dream, one of my dreams, as my wife. I did not see the face, I saw only the 2 legs and the dress she was wearing. Police was directing me to the right. I was driving to the left.
And your heart was directing you to the left?
My heart was directing me to the left.
Okay.
Until I stopped at her feet. Introduced myself. She introduced me. No. Before introducing myself, the first statement was that you are my wife, if you agree, if you accept.
You said to her?
Yes. She looked at me with circumspect. I said, somebody I don't know. No? We discussed briefly. I gave her an appointment to come to my office the next day. I went to court. She didn't come. On the second occasion, it was along Zik Avenue. I saw those legs again. I was filled with doubt in my mind. Is that the leg or is that not the leg? When I stopped for her, I told her, the first thing I did was to ask her, do you know me? I didn't realize early enough that she was in the same quagmire that I was. She said, if you are Mr. UMEADI, then I know you. That was when I knew she had a similar problem with me. So we discussed. It was after that second meeting now that she kept an appointment in my office. And one thing I keep remembering about her, the first day she came to my chambers at 148 Zik Avenue in Ugu, on top of ACB. ACB was at the ground floor. My office is at first floor. The first thing was to request for a legal novel captioned "Settled Out of Court." I told her that as a matter of principle, I don't give books out again because people don't return it. But because of the love, you know what I did? I had to open up an exercise book from that day. Open up that exercise book. Look at it. I started entering books. All the books I give out are here. You can see, as you can see. Any book, I write the date, write your name, the title of the book.
Are you saying you are so meticulous as to keep a journal of books you lent out?
Yes, of course.
And you are so meticulous as to retain the book?
The date you return, I put it back.
Are you saying this is the same exercise book?
Of course. Now,
wow.
Cases I have done since 1984.
Yes.
When I'm on my own. Look at the list of
they are there?
Look at the list of the cases. This is 84. This is 85. This is 86.
Well, I'm glad.
Today.
I'm glad I've not offended you, and I'm glad I'm not going to offend you because you are going to.
It's 1987.
Because the chance you are going to make a permanent record of it. I can't believe this.
1988. I have record of all the cases as a lawyer.
And you are so meticulous as to remember where this old exercise book was kept that you were able to just go there.
To God to have given me that type of woman. I call her my treasure, and beyond that, I see her as a destiny helper, without whom I may not be living today, or at least I may not be living as comfortably as I am today, even though I know all glory must go back to God.
It was a marriage made in heaven, and heaven blessed it with days filled with peace and love and laughter.
I am grateful to God who blessed the marriage with a son, whom I named Okwuchukwu. I call him Ofumpulaku Nagbaji Otondo. Yes. If God gives you one with God, it's majority.
Yes, indeed.
I strongly believe that.
You can say that again.
Apart from love, Barrister Sam UMEADI also found recognition, honor as a grateful society loaded him with responsibility, and with responsibility came honor and laurels.
On the international organizations, by God's grace, I'm also a member of International Human Rights Commission, Geneva. In 2020. At the same time, the patron and chief legal advisor of the Anambra State chapter of that organization, before being the patron and legal advisor of Nigeria Hunters and Security Services, which took place this year, 2022. So I am not surprised that Igbo Kebo II found me worthy as one of the cabinet members to be elevated to ICHIE UMUERI in 2022. Because since July 2017, when we were inaugurated as cabinet members, I've been putting in my little best. And by God's grace, we have been getting on.
So today we are celebrating you as ICHIE Barrister Sam UMEADI. Do we have Esquire going with that again?
Of course, yeah, not
me.
only Esquire. Esquire is there, Elder is there, because I'm an elder in my church.
That's quite a lot of laurels. How do you find space on your shoulder for all these titles and ranks and awards, and how do you find the space?
Finding space is not the problem. I discovered that in life, when there is a will, there must be a way.
There is a way.
Yes.
There is a way.
That's my own experience. Whatever you determine to do, there must be time for you to do it.
Right.
Unless you are not serious in doing it.
In recognition of a lifetime of meritorious service, UMERI community, through the agency of His Royal Majesty Igwe Sir Bennett Izutuo-Emeka, Okebo II of UMERI, is reaching out in love to their illustrious son, the great Ngujian II. Today, we are celebrating another milestone in the life of this remarkable lawyer, ex-soldier, orator, and quintessential man of the people, High Chief ICHIE Sam Anakutali Godswill UMEADI, as he takes his seat as one of the ICHIE UMERI, the UMERI Council of Elders.
So today we are celebrating your elevation to the rank of High Chief, and you're taking your place as
The rank of ICHIE.
Yes, as one of the ICHIE UMERI. That's quite high. What are your feelings about this? How does it make you feel?
In my usual way, I feel nothing but gratitude. First to God, then to all those around me, from Igwe to my wife, and all those around me, whose cooperation, all this could not have been possible.
We here at UMUERI and the Center for Research in Igbo History and Culture join your family, friends and associates as we share your joy and pride in this August day. Congratulations, High Chief. You will live long in Jesus' mighty name.